They have a little offense called a war offense. Yes. See, war crimes. Oh. Now, let's look at the war crimes. Let's say I'm right, because I was the one that lived with Heidi on Guam. Yes. I was the one that did speak to June on the phone. Yes. I was the father of Benjamin. In fact, I still am. Yes. Where Heidi couldn't turn Benjamin on for 3 months after his birth on Guam. Ooh. And you want to say there's no such thing as nanotechnology? Yep. That there is nothing that resembles a biochip? Yes. There's nothing called implant poop. Isn't that right? Well, let's say I was getting my rights enforced. And I lined all five of my signs up. Yes. And I asked Benjamin, yes. Were you the bee that Ben had to be on for all of those that had to be on Ben? Poop. Did you experience what was known as running through somebody? Pooch. Now, the use of children as a communication system, I think it qualifies as a war crime. Now, we could go through Jessica's physical body. Would I find any chips in there? Oh. Any implants? Right now. Did a large number of women decide to use children as their communication system, and those children happen to be my genetics? Yes. Or a daughter that I lived with for 10 years. Sheesh. Now, there's this war crime, yes, where you're going to get prosecuted. War, UVW, war crimes. See, every time that I pull any chip, yes, any implant, yes, or any chromium out of the bodies of any child, yes, I will sue the individuals that have knowledge of this crime as a war crime. Now, judge, let's call Emma. You're intentionally obstructing my custody of my sons because a large group of women said that all men were crazy and they happen to be using technology to communicate. Oops. Now, this technology is provable in a court of law. You know, I could go out and buy a biochip right now. Pooch. I could go out and buy an implant. Yes, he could. Yes, he could. I could buy a computer. Ouch. I could buy a router right now. Poop. Now, I'm thinking that the use of children as a communication system is a war crime. And you're perverting the course of justice. Means that you're complicit in war crimes, where you can be sued in a court of law. Oh, see, children cannot be used as a communication system. You can't use the sexual nerve endings of children, yes, so that you can run through them, yes, so that you can be on them, yes, so that you can right now. War crimes. Well, for every employee of the United States that says this is never going to happen, you'd be surprised that as soon as I'm able to speak to my sons, I will ask them, yes, did your mother use you as a way to be on different individuals or for different persons to be on your mother? Now, this idea, yes, of using my five sons right now, it's a fucking war crime. And you, judge, can go to prison as the first documented judge right now. War. UVW. Now, as a father, I said that I did not want any technology in my sons' bodies. Yes. As a father, I said that I did want to speak to Marilyn about Mike's use of her five biological sons. Mike. Mike Van Proyen. I know you had an implant because I did see the pictures on your Twitter account. Did you use your five kids as a communication system so that you could be on each and every individual in Squim, Washington? Mike, did you use your adopted daughter, Lugina, as a tool to be on whomever it is you wanted to be on? See, this war, hostile conflict by means of armed forces carried on between countries, states, or rulers of sometimes period parties between the same country or state periods of conflict. Now, a state of war may also exist without armed conflict. For example, the treaty formally ending the World War II state of the war between the United States and Japan was signed 7 years after the fighting ended in 1945. Now, this treaty that, well, let's say I sued Japan right now. Judge, may I ask you a question? Noah, you what I'm talking about? Did each of the children in my family get used so that you could communicate in your top secret family what it is that you wanted to have done so that you could come the money to pay for what you wanted? So that you could cough up the money. See, using children, yes, as a communication system is a communication system of war. Now, you seem to have thought that we're going to have a civil war. Oh. We're going to have a public war. Oh. We're going to have a revolutionary war. How about a war of aggression? Oh, this type of war is prohibited by the United Nations Charter and may be considered a crime against international peace under customary international law. Yes. Mm, mm, mm. Now, I gave you the documentation. Yeah, let's go ahead. Okay. That I want Marilyn to live with me, and for whatever reason, she might have been used by Mike because of her breasts. It could be that you sewed into her sexual nerve endings when they were having sex. It could be, yes, that you've intentionally kept people hostage because of your war. Judge, let's ask Mike. Mike, my wife signed an agreement with Oprah Winfrey to make virtualized shows because her twin sister Georgia arranged for all the contractual obligations and they decided to use my five sons as a Mike, did you use your kids to be able to communicate? War.